Hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the MRB Wrestling Review Show. I am your co-host who needs no introduction, and I will give you my review and the results of Friday Night SmackDown. The show kicked off when Vicky Guerrero introduced Daniel Bryan to the ring, and, of course, with every heel, there's a baby face and there's going to be an argument, so, you can tell something is going to go down. And a match made that happens later on, of course! It's just one of those shows, where it's predictable, it somehow still managed to pull off a good show, but what I really like was that this was the Shield's night on SmackDown, and I'll explain that later on. But when Daniel Bryan was in the ring with Vicky Guerrero, I mentioned that they argued a bit back and forth. Daniel Bryan, excellent on the microphone. I could listen to him all day. I love the little things he says. I like that he said that I would rather be a WWE champion for one day than to be that corporate suck-up. I like those little things that Daniel Bryan, comes back to with Vicky Guerrero. And he's being consistent throughout his promos as well. And he's one of those guys that I really look forward to watching on SmackDown because we hardly see CM Punk on SmackDown, so at least there's that other guy to look forward to, that being Daniel Bryan. And, as when opposed to Monday Night Raw, we can look forward to both guys, but it's weird to see CM Punk on SmackDown, so at least, SmackDown gives you something to offer when they have Daniel Bryan on the show, as well as the Shield, which, like I said, we'll get to in just a moment, because during that promo with Vicky and Daniel Bryan, Vicky makes a match. She makes an 11-on-3 gauntlet match where the Shield, while all three guys will be in the ring against one guy, one after the other. And really, what this is going to come to is for them, the Shield, to be in the ring with Daniel Bryan when it comes down to the very end, right? It's going to go down like that? Of course not, because something has to give. The show needs to go on and not have this dragged out, any longer. And with that being said, when they had the match, it was supposed to be 11-on-3. When the Shield looked very strong throughout that entire match. First they took out Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, and almost RVD, because what happened was that every time someone else came out, the match was a little bit longer, and the Shield still looked good, but when it came down to Rob Van Dam, where they almost lost, you see Triple H come out and to tell Vicky Guerrero that, just stop the match, just stop it right now, because you are abusing your power, etc., etc. I mean, of course, Triple H is going to be the guy that tells someone you're abusing your power when you're also doing the same thing. So, it plays into this weird transformation of Triple H, because even I can't tell if he's going to be 1 week or a heel or a babyface, because he's just unpredictable. And I think I kind of like this Triple H being unpredictable, making a swerve, being a babyface, making another swerve here, being a heel, swerve after swerve after swerve. It's actually pretty interesting, when it comes to the unpredictability factor. But with that being said, I think that Triple H needs to give in to one or the other, and something has to give. And with that being said, I like how, in that gauntlet match, it was Roman Reigns, the bigger guy of the three, really being the dominant one throughout that entire match. And the Shield just looked strong. And of course, when Triple H came out, he talked to Vicky Guerrero backstage, and what happened was he had to get Vicky to make another match. It was going to be a 3-on-3 6-man tag, the Shield versus the Usos and Daniel Bryan. And when we got to the match, I like how the last few minutes were really high energy. And with all that being said, Daniel Bryan and the Usos came out victorious. And like I said before, this was the Shield's show. This was the Shield competing in 2 matches. Not only did the Shield take on Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, Rob Van Dam, Daniel Bryan, and the Usos. That's pretty much half of the WWE roster, almost, at best. And for the Shield to compete in with all those guys in those 2 matches, just goes to show how much effort the Shield really puts into their matches. And I like how the Shield was used. This felt like 2 full-fledged matches, and all those superstars with the Shield, signaling that the Shield is just, oh man, the dominant force in the WWE. And it's a shame that we have to go through this and then talk about the Wyatt family, because they kind of lost momentum for a while now. And with that being said, those 2 went one-on-one with Zack Ryder and Justin Gabriel after Triple H was talking to them, who they were supposed to compete in the gauntlet match. They wanted something to do. Triple H gave them a tag team match to face Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, where the Wyatt family just dominated. Total annihilation of that match. Easy victory for the Wyatt family. And then Bray Wyatt coming in and laid the Sister Abigail on Justin Gabriel. And with that being said, I like, how the way they're using Bray Wyatt, because it seems to be that when Bray Wyatt is in the ring one-on-one with someone, the fans just don't even react to it. All they react to is how cool their entrance is with the lights out, and the little light Bray Wyatt holds, and the rocking chair, and the 2 guys, just behind Bray Wyatt. Those things like that the fans like, but when it comes to Bray Wyatt one-on-one action, it just dies down and it sucks. And I think that Bray Wyatt should be not competing in matches. I think that what they done was actually pretty good, having Luke Harper and Eric Rowan do the bidding, so to speak. And for Bray Wyatt to come in after the match, lay that finisher, do that thing he does in the corner, it's all well and good. So at least they're not putting Bray Wyatt in singles competition where the fans just don't react. Also last night, Naomi went one-on-one in a non-title match with AJ Lee, with Natalya on commentary. And what I thought was more interesting throughout that match was Natalya on commentary. I like that she said that AJ Lee is just a title holder and she's born a champion. And even though she's, making AJ Lee look good, she has to look even better, because she's going to be next in line for the Divas title. And I could see this happening until AJ Lee probably takes on Brie Bella and then goes on to face Natalya for the title. I think this is the rivalry that'll probably be happening within the next couple of weeks on Battleground. And with that being said, with all due respect to Natalya on commentary and how great she is, and saying stuff like I should be the champ, etc., etc., when it all boils down to it, AJ Lee is the face of the Divas division. And I think that if they use Natalya right, just put her in a match with AJ Lee for the Divas title and just have them two go at it, and not putting that aspect of Natalya being in the background as a total diva. Never mind that. Just put her in that match with AJ Lee for the Divas title. Just have them let them go. That's what I want to see, and I think that's what the fans want to see as well. And so, yeah, with that being said, I think we need to see more of Naomi as well in singles competition. I think if they break up the Funkadactyls, I think that will probably happen. And with that being said, I think that should be the right way to go with the Funkadactyls, because we hardly ever see them with tons of funks. So if they break up, Naomi and Cameron, we'll probably see more of Naomi because she looks great in the ring. She shows great athleticism. So I think that if they break them up, we'll see more of them. Also last night, Jack Swagger fell short in a match with Santino Marella. I liked how the match ended because, catching Swagger off guard in the backslide pin while there's other two guys in the ring makes sense. So at least, it's common sense throughout that match for Santino to go over Jack Swagger. Also, Ryback was in a one-on-one match with a local talent. His name is Nick Nardone. And before the match, we see the promo from Paul Heyman. It was pretty much the same thing as we saw on Monday Night Raw, where Curtis Axel comes out with Paul Heyman and pushes Paul Heyman in that, wheelchair. And out comes Ryback for his match. And we pretty much saw the same promo from Paul Heyman as we saw on Monday Night. So it just felt like a preview of what happened on Raw. And with that being said, Ryback facing off with a local guy, it comes off as full circle in a reverse way because Ryback started in his debut matches facing local talent. So I thought that alone was a little weird, and I think that him being alongside with Paul Heyman will probably help his career in a sense. The only thing I think that should happen is that Ryback should stop talking and let Paul Heyman do all the talking. And even though the roles here are reversed with CM Punk and Ryback, it just feels like, here we go again. Ryback versus CM Punk. So, and with that reason, something needs to give and something needs to end with this Ryback, CM Punk and Paul Heyman charade, because right now it feels like it's going on a little bit too long, and I think hopefully in a month or two it will end. It'll probably end at Survivor Series. I think that might be the way they're probably going with this rivalry between Paul Heyman and CM Punk. So I probably see, an ending at a pay-per-view like that, being one of the original pay-per-views. Also last night, Randy Orton actually cut a really good promo on SmackDown. I thought that he had great delivery in his words and in his lines, talking about how the old Randy Orton should come back, and saying that the fans wanted this new Randy Orton, but now he's going to do things for himself. And I like how he played on his words. Instead of your WWE champion, he said my WWE champion. And I think that with this, kind of rebooting this Randy Orton is not necessarily a reboot, but it's probably going to be a Randy Orton that we've seen before, but just as something different. And I feel that, if Randy Orton goes back to what he was before, it kind of signalizes that, it's a recycled character gimmick. And I think that Randy Orton should not go back to being the old guy. He should, but also in a sense make it with a modern twist. So I think that, if they go back to Randy Orton being that cold-hearted Viper, they should add something else as well. Also last night, we see Triple H giving RVD a World Heavyweight Championship match at Battleground. And shortly after, we see Alberto Del Rio attack Rob Van Dam from behind, and Michael Cole playing on the whole conspiracy. Did Triple H have something to do with Alberto Del Rio attacking Rob Van Dam, planting that seed of doubt in Triple H, because we see, like I said, Triple H being this heel, being this babyface. Like I said, something's got to give. And then after that, we saw R-Truth facing off with Alberto Del Rio, and I thought to myself, this match really didn't need to happen, because I get it, I understood it. Alberto Del Rio attacking Rob Van Dam. He got that, evil momentum on his side going into Battleground, so I didn't see for this match with R-Truth and Alberto Del Rio really didn't need to happen. And I could have, it's just one of those things where we could have done without this match. And all in all, I don't know. I thought this SmackDown was a little bit weird because of the way the last pay-per-view ended. Night of Champions, and Triple H being this really weird character right now, both Raw and SmackDown. I don't know. Something weird is happening, and I think that by Battleground, something has to give, something needs to make a lot more sense, and I think SmackDown, all it was just something to, level up the story, but in a weird, twisted sense. The only thing I liked about SmackDown was how the Shield was used, and the way Daniel Bryan got his momentum throughout the show. The rest of it, it was just alright. So what do you think? What have you thought of Friday Night SmackDown? Comment below, let me know. And for the MRB Wrestling Review Show, I'm your co-host, Mick Rock Wilson. To all your viewers watching, get plenty of rest, and always do your best.